All right. So man, for as long as I have known you, I have this thing that like when I meet someone new, I start associating like things that they mention or things that they know with their person. So when I see that thing, I usually go back to that person and I go like, oh, this friend of mine likes this or stuff.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of things that I associate with you, and two of those things are gonna like combine next year. So this is
Okay.
my way. So this is my way of saying, how do you feel that Eminem is gonna be on the Super Bowl next year?
I'm split, honestly. Actually,
Really?
I'm not completely happy about it.
Really? Why?
Yeah. And that's my boy. He's legit my favorite artist. It's just so
I thought you would have been like over the moon about it.
I've been saying for years how they should incorporate him more. That I'm surprised he's never had a Super Bowl. Like how many of his songs fit? Just Till I Collapse alone is like a Super Bowl song.
Mhm.
Or you only get one shot, one opportunity. Like how often does a guy get a shot at a ring? Unless you're Tom Brady, it's like once if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Um, but no, the whole thing is, remember how there was a big thing where talent was boycotting the Super Bowl because of the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah.
And I know Eminem really did align with that movement. He outwardly said, like, I'm in support of that movement. If you don't like it, don't fucking buy my music.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm kind of like, is he going back on it? But in his defense, the NFL has pledged to do a lot. They now do the Black National Anthem before games as well. They donated like legit hundreds of millions, well, not hundreds of millions, but millions of dollars to organizations meant to help people of color and their businesses and whatnot. So I'm like, have they done enough to warrant this? Damn it.
It's also not just him.
Mhm.
Like it's him, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick. So
Yeah, but
it's gonna be.
I don't give a fuck about 80% of the people on that stage. If 80% of the people on that stage drop dead of a heart attack in the middle of the show, all I'm gonna say is let him finish. Let him finish and we'll be good.
How dare you say that about our Lord and Savior Kendrick Lamar? Um,
What about you? What
I
do you think
just,
about this?
can you imagine being like a football player and you're on the losing team? Imagine you're losing halfway through the Super Bowl, and there's the halftime show, and Eminem shows up and screams to your face. Imagine you only had one shot, one opportunity, and like screams. Can you imagine the hype that you would feel like running back to that field? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having that man in your face, like say that, like you're losing, but you have an opportunity to come back and make it? Can you fucking imagine like that? I cannot even imagine the rush. Okay, just thinking about it. Like I don't even play football, but can you imagine being on that position? Can
Uh,
you just I wanted to talk to you because I know you love Eminem and I know you used to play football and I know you follow it. So like, can you imagine being in that headspace where like you're losing and then Eminem shows up and like face to face tells you like pick up your ass and win this? Like, look, Dr. Dre's gonna be there. Can you imagine if they do I need a doctor and like it ends with like Eminem saying like wake the fuck up, Dre, like we need you. Like, can you imagine that?
Honestly, that would be the worst halftime meeting ever. Because like, if the coach is trying to get my attention, fuck you. I need to jam out for a sec. Like, I need to go like get psyched for this game. Make the adjustments. I need to go hear M for once in my life. Um, no, I actually know what the crazy thing is, and I'm gonna knock on wood. Very
Yeah.
yeah, knock on wood. So I don't know if you know this. Eminem, he's from Detroit, right? Detroit, Michigan. And all that.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Okay, and there's a team called the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck about them. He's a Cowboys fan. So if the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl,
I didn't know that.
yeah, no, yeah. There's actually some famous pictures of him talking to Tony Romo like before a game in like 2008, I think, or 2009.
I always picture Tony Romo as like a great listener.
No, he's pretty good. He's dude, that guy's made of money. Lucky son of a bitch.
I just no, I was saying because his ears are like this size.
Wow, Chema. Wow. Okay, we're about to talk about a movie about bullying, and you're gonna go that way.
I don't know how he fit his helmet like that. That just made no sense.
That's special order. Hey, don't worry about it. All right, when you're the Cowboys quarterback, you can special order where the fuck you want.
Can I come to your house and see the Super Bowl next year?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you though. If the Cowboys aren't playing, we probably don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Not even the halfway the
halftime show? I'll bust out some wings for the halftime show. I'll make some Eddie's homemade boneless wings. Eddie's homemade chicken nuggets. Eddie's
homemade that he bought on HEB.
No. I actually I cut the raw chicken. We batter and bread it ourselves and fry it ourselves.
Okay. Okay. I will.
You will love it, and I will custom make them for you.
I do a mean. I do mean mashed potatoes. I'm pretty good at those. So
done. Boom. All right, we got Nikki. The halftime show's booked.
Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
And I'm not an asshole.
And this
is the
rollback. All right, man. So we're talking about A Silent Voice, directed by Naoko Yamada. Shoya Ishida starts bullying the new girl in his class, Shoko Nishimiya, because she's deaf. But as the teasing continues, the rest of the class starts to turn on Shoya for his lack of compassion. When they leave elementary school, Shoko and Shoya do not speak to each other again until an older, wiser Shoya, tormented by his past behavior, decides he must see Shoko once more. He wants to atone for his sins, but is he already too late? So this is an anime film that was directed by the same talented director that also did one of my favorite anime of all time, which is K-On! And this came out in 2016. And it's been a movie that has touched a lot of people's hearts because it deals with a lot of very interesting topics that I don't think movies tend to succeed in touching. And in my opinion, this one does. Now, I saw the movie when it came out and I've loved it. It's one of the few anime movies that I own on Blu-ray, actually. And I rewatched it for this and I shared it with you because I have two reasons. One is because I really thought you would connect with it. And two, I will reveal at a later time. So what did you think? What were your initial thoughts on A Silent Voice?
I'm going to read a quote, actually, so I watched this movie about less than 10 hours ago, right? Like I saw it earlier today. And I texted Chema to some degree as I was watching this movie. And I'm going to read you all two passages from the text I sent Chema earlier today. One text was, all I want to do is beat the living fuck out of all of these kids one by one with a belt. Another passage I sent was, I'm 90 minutes in. I'm glad she forgave him, but all I want is to beat him like a cheap Indian drum while performing a rain dance ceremony during a 3-year drought. What I'm trying to say is, fuck this guy. I like this movie, yes, but man, I hated him. In those 30 minutes, I hated him more than I hated Thanos.
Oh, wow.
I hated him, I think maybe more than I hated Voldemort. Not Umbridge, but close.
Somewhere in between.
Yeah, she didn't deserve that. God, where do we start? I know I'm biased in this one, but where should we start? I need you to lead this conversation.
Okay. Well, the main thing that this movie is trying to tackle at the first 20-30 minutes is a slice of life. You're just watching a little bit of real life just happen in front of you. It's very cruel and it's very hard to watch, I will admit. But I think it's because the movie's trying to set us up to understand what happened and it's being very raw about it. We can just jump straight into what the movie's trying to do. This movie's trying to ask a very difficult question. And that is, can a person change? Can they change for the better? Do they deserve forgiveness? And at the end, probably the hardest question, can they forgive themselves? And it's a very touchy subject, and it's very hard because the movie starts out raw. This boy and this class is bullying this girl. She's deaf, and she's a pure cinnamon roll. Like she hasn't done anything wrong. And the movie starts and they're bullying her, and it's horrible. It's really hard to watch. But then we see this boy grows up and he kind of takes all the blame. No one from the rest of the class, even though they bullied her as well, no one takes the fall with him. And he ends up having to channel this. He ends up growing up. He ends up very depressed. And one of the first instances that we see, because I didn't know this when I started watching it, but when we see him grow up and we see him start like as a young adult, it kind of hit me like, oh, he's the main character. We're supposed to follow him, but I don't like him because of what he did. But then it starts, and like the first thing he does, he tries to kill himself. And then he doesn't go through with it, and he goes back home, and he needs to have one of the most, I think, difficult conversations that a person goes through, which is his mom knows what he tried to do. And it's a very hard way to start a movie, and because then you have to see him like grow old and try to attest to his sins. And he's like, okay, I have to go find this girl, I have to give her back her notebook, and I've been trying to learn sign language, and he just wants to apologize and maybe ask her if she still wants to be her friend. And it's a lot to take in the start of the movie, but a lot of the viewer has to put themselves in a position where they have to like trust him for a little bit. Like he's on the wheel. We need to be like, okay, he's trying to be better. And all the characters are calling him out. Are you doing it because you actually want to feel better? Are you doing it because you just feel bad because of what you did? Or do you really want to be her friend? Do you really want to learn sign language? Like, is this for real? And the movie employs this in a way that like we see this guy grow up, and he has a lot of depression. He has a lot of self-hate. And the movie succeeds at being a movie, because it's not just it starts out being raw at the start, but then they do this beautiful motif, this beautiful device throughout the movie where like he blocks out everyone. He never looks at anyone in the eye, and everyone is represented by having these like purple X's on their faces. That's amazing. Like that leads to one of the most beautiful scenes at the end of the movie. But I love that motif. I love that device. I love how this animation was done by Kyoto Anu, which is one of the most legendary studios of animation. They're like what Nickelodeon is to the United States, okay? They've done amazing work. They've done amazing animation. So their animation is beautiful. It's very pretty, and it's very specific. So they're taking a risk by doing their very beautiful animation and then putting a big, fat, ugly X on their faces, okay? So it's a risk, and it's ballsy, and I really like them for it. That's my take throughout the whole movie. We can tackle like the stronger subjects and the stronger scenes a little later, but that's my lead in. I want to hear from you.
I mean, it was right after, because in the order of events, the movie actually opens with him, quitting his job, getting everything together, and he's about to jump off the bridge. And then it jumps to the flashback where he's a bully. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be a redemption story for him. Let's see if this is the last one can earn it. Just so cruel. And I think the thing that kind of bothered me a lot about the movie was the fact that it wasn't unrealistic. And that sucks. Because, like, she did nothing to deserve this. Like, she wasn't trying to be a nuisance or a bother. She wasn't trying to be an asshole. She just was like, you want to be friends? She was nice almost to a fault. And you felt for Shoko?
Yeah.
Shoko? Yeah, you felt for her so damn much. And it was frustrating. It was physically irritating me. Like in my core, I could feel my blood actually boiling in the back of my head, getting hot. Because this little shit just doing all this. And the thing is, he's not the only one. It is almost a whole class like is messing with her, is picking on her, excluding her, being mean. Like it's heartbreaking. And And then the little bastard does get what he deserves to some degree. He gets bullied to some degree. He gets picked on. I'm not saying, eye for an eye, but like, I didn't feel bad. But you're right. Everyone else was bullying her as well. He wasn't the only one. He just took the fall because he did it the worst.
I think he gets worse. Sorry, it's just that I wanted to say, I think he gets worse than bullied. He gets ignored. Like he gets completely shut out. Like that's worse. Like he's not even being acknowledged.
That's how he puts up his defense mechanism, right? He doesn't even look anyone in the eyes anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone has those exes because it's an easier defense mechanism to do that rather than actually risk rejection. Yeah, and deal with people. And his mother even, there's a really difficult family scene. It reminds me of like the scene from Hereditary where there are hard moments that you never see, and now since like 2018, now all of a sudden they're doing it more and more often where they have those difficult conversations that you used to never see. And that was one of them. In Hereditary, your sister will still be alive because of you, whatever. In this movie, the conversation about him trying to commit suicide and whatnot, or, contemplating it or whatever. Difficult. And they do, to their credit, a very good job of rebuilding this character that I just despise in the first 30 minutes of slowly rehabbing him. And, can he redeem himself? And you're right, can he forgive himself? Essentially what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't want to say she forgives him really fast, but it hits pretty fast that that's not what he needs. He needs to forgive himself, not ask her to forgive him, which is what leads to one of the best conversations that they have at the end of the movie, where he goes, can you live with me? Like, can you share life with me? Like, can you show me how to live? And that's at the end of the day, what they have to do. They don't, because it's not like, okay, we're forgiving ourselves. Like, work's done. Like, he's going to have to live with this forever. And it's very complicated. But I like the way that they show those ideas and the way that they deal with them. Very human ideas in a movie where they're not human, they're animated, but they come off so alive. And Kyoto Anime's animation is like on fire. They're the perfect people to do something like this. Mm-hmm. And you know me, I love anime, and I love how it can be like very fantasy oriented and bring really strange concepts to life. But the fact that this could be like a live action movie very easily, and somehow it works even better like this.
It feels like the kind of movie that they should show. I want to say show to more people, like
teenagers.
Yeah, definitely, or or kids in like 4th or 5th grade, just to understand, hey, your actions have consequences. It does a very good job at making you feel empathetic, to some degree. Mm-hmm. So I want to compliment the animation. It was great. Although not as pretty as the other. Was it the same animation studio that did Weathering with You?
No, that's a different studio.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Animation was still great though. It's still top notch. Just like I was wondering, like, are they the same people? Because the more I'm watching your anime movies, the more I'm kind of noticing minor differences in art style or coloring or details, and like, they're not doing this.
Yeah, no, this is not a Shinkai. Shinkai did Weathering with You and Your Name. This is Kyoto Ani. They've done K-On!, Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. They've done Free, Tamako Market. They've done a lot of classics, and they're great. Hyoka, which I recently watched, which is amazing. Dragon Maid. They've done a lot of really good stuff. And Lucky Star, they have such a unique style. Like their characters look a specific way, and I think this one really works in that way. Speaking of characters, this movie has quite the cast of that little gang. I like them. I really like these characters. I like the little short friend. He reminds me of like Charles Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like he was kind of funny.
It's just weird. Does he have the same head of that kid from My Hero Academia?
It was similar, yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. I'm not wrong.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's kind of similar. He was great. The Sahara, the girl with the short hair, was kind of cool. The sister was awesome. I love the sister character. She was really funny. So,
Zoro? Yuzuru?
Yosora, yeah.
Zoro.
She was cool.
You know, she great, honestly, and I love the fact that she was somewhat gender fluid, I guess.
No, she's a girl. She just looks like a little boy.
No, but doesn't she say like I'm her boyfriend, like to try and cover, and like she pretends to be a boy for a little bit?
Yeah, but just that. She's just faking it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
No. You're being inclusive. That's great. You're considering all the variables. That's good. That's it.
Well, no, because also I was thinking like, they were doing this back in 2015, badass, or 2016. Okay, they really are ahead of us at all times.
Yeah. She was great. Yeah.
And then who's that purple-eyed character?
The girl?
The female purple-eyed character, the one that actually hits Shoko.
Oh, the other bully. Yeah. I forgot her name, but
she deserves to be forgotten. I'm gonna quote Eminem: "Die nameless."
She's a character that I think everyone like points out and is like, what a bitch, what an insane person. But I think the main reason why she's there is because she is what he could have been. Mm-hmm. I think when this boy grows up, he has one of two ways. He can either change or he can become an even worse bully. And you're gonna love this. He is one bad day away from being her. Okay.
She doesn't have the cool street creds to back it up.
I mean,
you make a good point. You make a good point, though.
If we're gonna keep it grounded and like realistic, yeah, he is one bad day away from being her, because like he can grow up and like he can take all this anger and he directed it to himself. She kept directing it outward, and that's what made her. And I think she has to be there to like balance it out. Like, hey, you could have been this. You're going to be something else. But I think he's always like dipping that foot in that pool. Like it's always like, am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing it for the wrong reasons? Like, yeah, all that is very complicated, but I think it needs to be there because it needs to show all the sides of what could have happened to him.
I can't also help but notice that she, like, why do they keep her around? Because she's around the group of friends, like she's a part of the group. Why? Like, why? Like, it's not hard to cut someone out of your life, especially if you're not blood related. It would be very easy to I think what's my main criticism of this movie? What is my main criticism of this movie? I'm actually breaking this down live on the air, folks. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Because it's like, the writing is great. And this is an important message, it's an important story. The fact that I hate her so much, maybe that's a testament to what a great job the movie did in making me feel entrenched. Because I never felt like I was watching a cartoon. Does that make sense? In the back of my head, when I'm watching like fucking Batman or The Incredibles, I know I'm watching a cartoon. Like, oh no, he took a swing at 10-year-old Robin. He'll be fine. But for some reason, in this movie, I was actively concerned and angry throughout this film, as far as like the actions that were happening, because it's unfortunately realistic. It's an ugly thing in a beautiful movie.
I think you hit it right on the head. Like, it's I commend this movie for being very touching and very brave for touching a subject that is very hard to touch and doing it successfully. Because we've seen no end of like teenage coming of age movies that try to do the bullying subject and don't do it right. And we've seen shows that try to do it. And I think this one really nails it. And it's very difficult, because we have to empathize with the main bully, with the main boy, and he's growing up and he's kind of directing everything to himself. And he has to ask himself, do I forgive myself? Can I let this go? And that leads to one of the most cathartic scenes that I've ever had in watching a movie. Let me break you down how this came from me. I saw this movie surrounded with a lot of people. We were in a classroom in college. Like, we rented a classroom and we were all hanging out, and we put on this movie, and we had a permit to be there. And we got to the scene, the fireworks scene at the end, where she's gonna jump. And we were all like, no fucking way she's gonna jump. No fucking she's gonna jump. And right when she was about to jump, a security guard came through the door. I was like, hey, do you all have a permit? And we were all like, no! Like, we all yell at him at the same time. And he's like, what happened? It's like, no, yes, we have a permit. Yeah. And then we all had to like come back. But you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was like our hearts were just going by that scene. So one of the most cathartic scenes, I think, there at the end. And I'll talk about the ending in a little bit. But how did you feel about that scene? Because I know the whole movie feels painfully realistic. That scene is like, I need a nap after watching that scene. It's too powerful.
Actually, it's funny. I remember, so I was watching this movie in our bed, and Nikki was in the other room. I was laying down watching it with my two dogs, and I see her, and she's standing on the ledge, and he goes into the room, and he's running towards her, and I raise my arms and like, wow, like, get her, like, come on. And then he trips on the table. I'm like, you mother, come on, just get her. Like, I'm cheering for this guy. Like, come on. Yeah. And then I'm even thinking, you sons of bitches, like, you're stretching this moment out as long as you fucking can. You have me in the palm of your hand. And then finally, the curtain waves a little bit, and I see her head's on that. I'm like, no fucking way. And then I see he's got her. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, victory then. Awesome. Okay, problem avoided. And then he fucking drops.
Yeah.
And then, oh, well, how did y'all react when he fell? Did y'all think he was going to die? Because I actually thought he was.
I thought he was gone. I thought he was a goner. And then we see, after that, when he's in the hospital, we see his mom and Shoko's mom, like, they're both there. And I don't know if you're aware of this. Like, I know that sometimes, something like cultural differences won't hit. Do you know what that means when, like, the mom, like, kind of like bows to her?
No.
That's like the most, not disrespectful, but like the most humiliating thing you can do in like Japanese culture. And like, it's a thing that you do when you're like so apologetic and so like it's almost unheard of. Like, people don't do that. Mm-hmm. And it's like putting yourself in a position where I'm like, I completely surrender myself and I'm so sorry. And like, you can take my life. And yeah, like that, like here, it probably doesn't feel that heavy, but there it's like the most like it's apologetic. Yeah. Like, it's the most like heavy thing that you can do. Like that's not a thing that you joke around with, Mm-hmm. So when we see that scene and she's doing that, and we see that in contrast with the scene at the beginning of the movie when she's being bullied and the mom goes to see her and the mom slaps the other mom and like tears out one of her earrings. Like, it's a nice counterbalance to that. Do you remember
does she does she attack the mom?
You don't see it, but you see the mom having like this part of her ear, like it's got like they do like a little close up, and they do this. You can see blood, and you can see that like it's completely like through, like it's like she's been teared through that. So
Shoko's mom attacked the other guy's mom.
Yeah, and she took it, and she took it because she's like, I will take responsibility for my son.
Oh, really? I did not see that. I did not notice that detail. I noticed her giving her the cash. Like, I'm sorry. Like, here's the money. Yeah. But I did not see that. Wow.
No. That happens like at the end of like the middle school section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to go back and rewatch it. I did not notice that detail. But okay,
it's really short. But like it, and then it really works to counterbalance this scene where like she's like throwing herself to like, I'm so sorry that like my daughter did this, and that this is happening.
Yeah.
And yeah,
the daughter and the little sister do it. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
And then she's like, dude, stand up. Like, don't worry. You're fine. Like,
yeah.
it's nice to see how humble they are, and there's no overreactions. There's no overreacting. Does that make sense?
Overacting, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree. Mhm. Yeah,
except for that one bitch.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, and then she doesn't even have like the heart to just be like, hey, we can put this past. No, she just goes and attacks Shoko. Like it's, oh god, what a one of the most despisable movie characters, I think, to a movie's benefit. Because the characters can be annoying by accident, but this one's annoying on purpose, and it helps like move the story along. But what a bitch!
Well, also, I just remember it was frustrating at some points because it was like all these school friends from like 6 fucking years ago are talking about this one thing, and it's like part of me understands why they're going back to it, but another part is like, you're 6 years older now. You're 6 years removed from the situation. You're 6 years. You're on the verge of being adults. Y'all are 17. You little bastards are this close to being out in the real world. Move on. And I don't mean necessarily the Shoko, and the main character. I'm not talking about them, but I mean in general. It seems like these moments really paralyze them, or like they allowed it to define them. It's like it's more complicated than that. You're older now, you guys have lost touch. I don't know. It seemed small. If you're not within that tight circle where like your life was genuinely affected, it seems so small.
It's very complicated. And I wanted to bring this up because there's a reason why I wanted to review this movie, why I wanted to rewatch it, and why I wanted to discuss it with you. Mm-hmm. And I can't believe I'm going to get this candid on this show. But the main reason why I wanted to rewatch this and talk about it is because recently I got a Facebook message from the guy that used to bully me and made my life a living hell in middle school. He messaged me recently, and I'm not gonna say his name, but like he fucking cares. And yeah, he messaged me, and I never answered, but he messaged me, and he was like, "Hey, I now realize that what happened and what I did, and now I understand that it was wrong. And after we all changed schools, I was also bullied, and I think I understand you now, and I'm so sorry, and you don't have to like message me back or anything, but like I feel like I wanted to tell you this. And I still don't know if I'm going to respond or how I'm going to, So when that happened, I immediately thought of this movie. And I thought of how I wanted to put myself in both positions and how I wanted to think. Because the whole reason why I went into, I was a psych major in college, but the whole reason why I went to psychology and why I wanted to be a therapist was because I truly believe that people can change and they can change for the better. So, but when I saw that message, I kind of like reread it and I got it for like several hours, and every hour I would have a different feeling. On the first hour, I would be like, you know what, it's in the past, whatever. Like I've moved on. This didn't like form me or anything. But then on the next hour, I immediately thought was like, this guy can drop dead. And that's not a healthy thing to feel. It's not. It's really not. And but having those feelings are normal, and I think they need to be processed and need to get through. And my therapist told me to do something, and I will do what she tells me to do because she knows. But yeah, I kind of wanted to get into this headspace again because I think it would have helped me to observe the movie a little better, and I think I understand it way more now than I did before. Now, I don't know what it's like to be on the bully side, but I kind of think that this movie helped me put myself in the position of what this guy is trying to tell me. And I don't want to make this a melodramatic episode because it's not, because this thing kind of doesn't really affect me, but it did remind me of this. And because of that, I think the ending of the movie is so special and so important. One of the most better done metaphors to work out this motif where he finally allows himself to see and be seen and forgive himself. And we get that scene where like he kind of puts his hand over his ears and he kind of drops them, and all the X's just like fall. And he's at the school festival, and he finally has an opportunity to like, be a kid. And I think that this main kid, I don't know what characters do after a story ends, but I think he doesn't let it go. Like this is going to still be in his mind for like the rest of his life, which is why I think it's important that when he tells Shoko at the end, teach me how to live, he's saying, teach me how to live with this. Like, let me be a person that does a lot of things, but don't let me forget this, because this thing is what made me. This thing is what's going to influence me, hopefully for the better. And I think that is a message that we need to take ourselves with, because at some point we've all screwed the pooch. At some point we've all screwed up. We've all done something that is wrong, and asking for forgiveness is very difficult. And asking and forgiving yourself, I think, is even harder. And I think it's important to have that conversation with everyone else and with yourself. And because of that, I think that movie succeeds. This movie succeeds.
Man, I can understand the personal connection you have to this film. Never took that into consideration, honestly. Wow.
Bring the mood back, Luna.
Kind of hard, man. But one of my closest friends on this floating mud bowl we call a planet just had like a moment. I'm like, oh fuck, like what? I'm. You want me to kill him? I'll kill him.
No.
Okay, wait, that's an overreaction. I'll break his hands. I'm sure he has terrible healthcare. He'll never be able to like type again. Or
are you insulting Mexican healthcare? At least we have one.
wait. Is he in Mexico or is he in the US?
Yeah. No, he's well, I don't really know.
So I can kill him then.
I don't care about this person.
I have a grant to bribe the local cops.
I don't really care what happens to this person. I honestly don't. But it did make me think about this movie, and I know that we come from different backgrounds, but for some reason I thought you might really connect to this. Like you have a very strong sense of justice, and I wanted to see how that was going to clash with this. So
I'm not going to get deep in this one, but I will for you. Okay. Look, cards on the table, man. All right. And I think it's always funny. No one ever admits to being the bully, but everyone always talks about how they're bullied when they're younger. I don't know. Anyway, so when I was a kid, I was that guy. I was the one that was bullied a lot because and folks, you've never seen me in person, but I'm relatively tall for the valley. I'm about 6'1" with the right shoes, right?
I'm taller than you, though.
Yeah, you son of it's the hair. Fuck you, it's your hair.
It's not the hair. Although I will say this, you're like a bigger shoe size.
I'm a 14. Yeah.
I'm at 11 and a half. So yeah.
And I'm still uncoordinated as fuck with these big feet. But no, okay, so
go ahead.
Growing up, I was elementary school, I was the tallest kid. In middle school, I was the second tallest kid. High school, finally I got humbled. As far as height's concerned. But I was always the biggest kid, but I was always a big softie. Like I would not fight. Like I was just not that person. So you wanna look tough, go to the biggest kid that you know that's not gonna fight back and push him around. So I maybe that's why it angered me so much, because I saw this sweet girl that didn't deserve any of this get picked on, and I understand, because also I get it. I was to some degree that person who like fucking did nothing, but yet, like took hits all the fucking time. I'm talking from elementary, middle school, and high school until I got into a fist fight. Like it finally, like I snapped and fucking that happened. So I can relate to this probably more than I can really express,
Yeah.
As far as forgiveness, Shoko's a saint. Like she can forgive. the capacity to forgive is not easy. That's something hard to do. And I mean, I'm just of the opinion, fuck you, live with it. Like,
Okay.
God, man, I don't know. Am I getting too personal when I say this?
I don't know. Are you?
I don't know. Look, I'm of the opinion. You know how when people die, all of a sudden they become saints, and everyone talks about only the good. I believe no. You are who you were. If you were an asshole during your life, you shouldn't be remembered as a saint. Like, there's no way you should be whitewashed and like, oh no, this was such a good person. Like, no, this guy was an asshole. In that same way, you can say, oh, I've changed, I'm a different person. Good for you. But if you're looking for me to make you feel better and abolish your sins and say, hey, it's okay, don't worry, forgive yourself, I'm not that person.
Okay.
You shouldn't have done it in the first place. Like, I had empathy when I was 4 years old. What the fuck is your excuse?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. I don't know if I got too personal there, man. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. And I think that's exactly what this movie is trying to say. It's trying to say, if you put in the work and if you want to be better, if you want to change, you can. I think you can. There's a quote by Oscar Wilde that says, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And
that's a good one.
It is. I mean, that man knew what he was doing. He knew what he was saying. I mean, his last words before he said he was dying on a hotel room, and he said, either that wallpaper goes or I go, and then he died.
Is that true?
That's true. I know a lot of last words. Like, it's a very stupid thing, but like, I know a lot of last words.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So that's the way I decide to see it. Obviously not everyone, but I don't think everyone would put in as much work as he did. I mean, he took the time, he learned sign language, he asked for forgiveness, he was ready to just end it all, but something just kept him going. And I think that at some point you can't blame it on being young. And I think that movie addresses that very well. Like, okay, I was young, but I was wrong then and I'm wrong now. But how can I make it better? How can I try? How can I start? And he puts in the time. And I don't know if it's the same for everyone. I don't know if this movie is just a special case of like a very hopeful possibility. But I think the movie does it right. Mm-hmm. And it makes, and I think it would make anyone, even people that don't believe it even slightly, that the possibility of change is possible. Mm-hmm. And I like it because of that.
Do you think there's a reason why when he was first going to jump off the bridge, the fireworks was going off?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a particular reason why fireworks, again, like at the fireworks show later on, that's when she was going to jump as well? Like, yeah. Or if he saved her, is there like a symbolic reason maybe? Or
I think it was just like a what's it called when they like tease it? No, like
foreshadowing.
I think it's just foreshadowing. And I mean, who doesn't like a good fireworks show?
I mean, that first one was pretty shitty. The second one's pretty great.
Well, you do live in Texas where you see fireworks like every day, don't you?
Wait, do we? Wait. The little ones? Those fucking sparklers.
I don't know. I feel like when I lived in Texas, I saw fireworks all the time. I don't know. It's just me. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about this movie?
This movie needs to be watched by more people. This should be required like viewing in like the second grade.
Second grade?
Yeah.
Like, aren't second graders like 6?
No, they're 8.
What's second grade to you?
7, 8 years old.
We live in different countries.
Yeah. 7 and 8-year-olds need to watch this movie to learn some fucking empathy.
Okay. Because like 60-year-olds are like 10, 11, I think. I think 10, 11 is a good age. Yeah.
No, we need to get them before they start before puberty. We need to get them before puberty, because as soon as puberty hits,
10 is before puberty.
Not for some kids. We need to hit all of them before puberty.
Oh yeah, we were early bloomers, weren't we?
Yeah. The hype machine. The hype machines. This movie, is it a good thing that it invoked such strong feelings? I feel like it is.
I feel like any movie that made you react strongly to it is doing its job. I think the worst thing that a movie can do is be boring, and I think this movie's anything but.
You're not wrong. This movie's not boring. I did not realize what I was getting into, but like, the heartbreak. Happy ending, but like, man, there was a lot to get through to get there.
Yeah.
Like emotionally speaking.
Yeah. Final thoughts. I love this movie, man. I really wanted to share it with you, and I think it helped me in what I'm going through in real life, and I just love it, man. It was great seeing it again, and can't recommend it enough. If you want to watch if you want to get into anime but you're on the fence because you think it's weird, watch this, because this is as human as I think anime gets, and I think it uses the fact that it's an anime to its benefit. Like that face effect, I don't think it would have worked live action. It's too specific and too its own thing.
Too anime? I love it, man.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's a word.
I don't know. It works. Whatever it is, it really works. And I love this movie. I give it a 9.6 out of 10.
This movie reminds me a lot of Inside Out. You remember how you mentioned to me once that therapists were using it as a tool to talk to kids to get them to process their emotions? Mm-hmm. I feel like this movie needs to be used as well. Like this movie's in that same category, and that I only mean that as a compliment. Like, that's praise. An important movie that I think should be watched. A human movie that needs to be watched. Like, genuinely a human. These written scribbles on a piece of paper made me feel more things than like 90% of other films. 95% of other movies. I don't know if I'm ever going to seek it out. Like, I don't think this is a movie that I'm going to actively try to rewatch, just because like the first act is so like heart-wrenching.
Mm-hmm. But you would recommend it?
Oh, I'll recommend it every fucking day of the week, twice on Sundays. It's like the Titanic. My dad refuses to watch that movie, not because it's a bad film or a good film or whatever, but because he said the ending, there's too much suffering. He doesn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I watched Titanic as a kid, and I think it's the first movie that made me cry, and I don't even realize why I was crying. I just remember I was watching it with my mom. And then, like, by the end, I just like stood up and started like walking around the dinner table. And she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No!" And I just started to cry.
Probably because that bitch Rose let him go.
It's probably because she dropped the jewel, and it's like that bitch cost $1 million. Like,
you could feed so many people with that. Well, why are you dropping it into the ocean?
You could have pawned that shit.
You dumb bitch.
One last thing.
Go for it.
One last thing. Throughout the year, we've reviewed new movies. We reviewed some older movies, and you've done something really nice to me, which is you've helped me create a space where I felt very comfortable talking about the things that I love and these things, and you've been very open to letting me share like my weep shit with you. So I wanted to, and now I feel like with this episode, I feel like I've been able to talk about something a little bit more serious, and I think this movie addresses kind of serious topics. So I wanted to, as a last, I just wanted to thank you for doing this with me, man. And you're my friend, and I love you, and this is great that we get to do things together. And I wanted to offer you something.
I'm terrified, but go on.
Why also, would you be terrified?
I don't know, but also, man, like, I've been genuinely enjoyed this. You opened me up to a new world of like movies I never thought I would enjoy. Like, so no, man, thank you. The pleasure's been mine, if anything.
Yeah. So here's the thing. there's a specific series of movies that I know you love and that I've kind of turned against for like a long time. So if you're willing, before the end of the year, I want to sit down, rewatch, and review with you the Godfather trilogy. Would you be down for that? Are you okay?
Yeah, just like
Are you crying?
no, I'm wondering, do you know what you're getting yourself into? Because like I legit seen the first two like at least 30 times each. I'm giving a realistic number because it's actually real. Like on a Sunday when I'm doing dishes and shit, I'll put it on because I know what's going on without even looking at the screen.
I know what it's like to be young. I know what it's like to be in love, and I know what it's like to be young and in love with a movie. Okay. So I want to do that for you, and I want to give these movies a chance. I watched the trilogy when I was 16 years old, and I did not care for it. Okay. It's been 11 years. I will gladly give it another shot. And I only want to do it if we can come back and discuss them later.
I'm completely and utterly down.
Okay.
I just have one question though. Do you want to do 3 separate episodes, or do you want to do one long one? We can go either way, but just know if we do one episode, that's going to break 2 hours easy. At least.
Let's do an episode each. I think it's
episode each. Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll break it up. Because right. I have so much.
Yeah, and I know that you do. So I kind of want to see that because I feel like most of these episodes I feel like I talk more. So
we have good banter. We have good chemistry. We go back and forth.
Yeah, but the main thing is that rewatching this movie, it made me think of like, bringing all these things from the past and trying to revive them and stuff. And I don't know, it made me think about that. It made me think of you. And because of that, I would really like to do that. So how about we keep doing like the weekly episodes, like with a new movie. And then if there's a week where like nothing interesting comes up, we do one of those.
Down, completely utterly down.
All right. Well,
but it will not be this coming week though, because next week we're doing Carnage, right?
We're doing Venom.
Venom. Yeah. The follow-up song is actually pretty good though. I'll give him that. The Last One Standing is actually pretty good.
Okay. It's been so hard to just travel around the internet for the past few weeks because have you seen it already?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happens. I've just heard that it's like that the movie. I've just heard the movie's okay, but I've heard like the ending or like the post-credit scene, like something really
big,
like strong or big happens. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know until I see it. I already have tickets. I'm going to watch it on Saturday. My sister and I are going to go see it, and we can talk about this next week. But I'm really looking forward to it because it's been really difficult. Just avoiding spoilers for the past few weeks, okay?
The movie isn't. Did you like the first one?
I thought this was just fine. I thought it was like really just completely. It was definitely a movie that happened. That's how I felt about the first one.
You're gonna think this one is a lot of the same, but with story progression. But man, I had my mariachi laugh going on during this movie. There's one scene that takes place in the apartment, and that's all I'll give you. You'll know the scene that takes place in the apartment, and it had me mariachi laughing.
Was it the breakfast scene? Because that was in a trailer.
No.
Okay,
no, it's not that scene. It's not the breakfast scene.
Okay, I'll wait for it. I'll get there. But yeah, did you ever when you were watching the first one or this one? Did you ever get tingles whenever Venom goes Eddie?
Like, no. Okay, but like I've always wanted like a voice in my head that can be actually like talk back rather than it just being an AV conversation. Like I want him to have his own personality. I want him. Okay.
In psychology, we call that internal codependency, and it's very dangerous.
How's it dangerous? I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's a coping mechanism.
It's not a coping mechanism.
Shut the fuck up, Chema. I'm deleting this. Nikki can't know about any of this. Nah, she knows about the voices in my head. It's fine.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to hear more about our thoughts on movies, please find us on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We're available on all streaming platforms. Just search us under the Rollback Podcast.
Also, while you're looking us up, do us a favor and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're trying to grow this channel. We just had our fourth best month ever.
And that's...
Actually did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just had fourth. Like, technically third. It's tied for a third, actually. So I guess we just had a third best month ever.
That's what that's what listeners love. Stats.
There you go, folks. There you go. See, we're on the rise. We're on the way up.
My name was Chema.
And I've been Eddie.
And this
was the Rollback.
Signing off with a reminder to don't be a fucking bully.
And if you have a bully, brass knuckles are now legal again in the United States. You know what to do, kids.
Remember that Texas is a PvP zone.
Oh, also, every time they bully you, put a quarter in the bully sock, and then you'll have a weapon eventually. I shouldn't include that, should I?
No, you should. It's done. Call it. Cut it.
There.
All right.